Right now, Max Verstappen is on top of the world. With his victory at the Japanese Grand Prix, his second world title was confirmed, and at the age of 25, there is nothing to suggest that his trophy haul will end there. He and Red Bull look to be on the precipice of dominance in the sport, but another two-time champion has suggested that the partnership won't last forever. With that in mind, let's dive into the video as we ponder whether Max Verstappen will stay at Red Bull for the rest of his Formula One career. From the moment Max Verstappen started driving in Formula One, he has had some affiliation with Red Bull. The son of Jos, a former F1 driver, Verstappen made a name for himself during his karting days and quickly emerged as a possible generational talent. Formula One teams were circling with each of them hoping to land the future world champion, but it was Red Bull who secured his signature. Verstappen was signed as a reserve driver for Red Bull's junior team, Toro Rosso, in 2014 and spent just a year in that position before being promoted to a full-time driver. His progression through the F1 ranks was rapid, landing the Red Bull seat just a year later and announcing his arrival with a win in his very first race. Since that race, Verstappen has honed his talent, but was forced to settle for a podium place at best while Mercedes were just so dominant. It was only during the 2021 season that Verstappen emerged as a genuine title contender. He won that crowd, albeit under somewhat suspicious circumstances, and has since strolled to his second title in 2022. He is one of the best paid drivers on the grid and has a contract with Red Bull to 2028. But Mika Häkkinen has suggested that that might be the end of their relationship. Häkkinen may have only driven for two teams during his career, the same number that Verstappen has, but has raised doubts that Verstappen will see out his career with Red Bull. "It's great Max is committed and signs long contracts. It shows that he trusts them," said Häkkinen. "But there is always that risk that when key people leave, the car performance doesn't match expectations. That's when the driver starts to think whether it's time to change teams. I don't think Max is going to stay with Red Bull for the rest of his career, but this is just my opinion. Historically, drivers have switched teams, despite having multiple championships for different reasons, whether it's money or just wanting to go somewhere else." By the end of his current contract, Verstappen would be 31, meaning there would be plenty of years left in his career for him to look forward to. Only the Dutchman knows whether he would fancy a swap, and perhaps the better question is, where would he go? While predicting where Verstappen might move to in 6 years' time is a tough task, it is always fun to speculate, so we thought we'd run down some of the teams he may opt for. The first seems unthinkable now, but who knows what life will be like in 2028. That's right, Max Verstappen could move to Mercedes. If you think about it, it does make sense. Presumably at the age of 43, Lewis Hamilton will have retired by then, and Mercedes may be looking for the next great driver to lead them. In Verstappen, there would be no finer choice. In terms of what Verstappen gets out of it, Mercedes have proven themselves capable of building a dominant race car, and while 2022 has not been their finest season, there is no reason to doubt that they will return to form in 2023 and beyond. If Mercedes proves a no-go, perhaps a move to Ferrari may be on the cards. As the oldest and most successful team in history, Ferrari holds a special place in many people's hearts, and it seems that's also true for the drivers. Hamilton himself has flirted with the idea of driving for the famous Italian team, while Sebastian Vettel left Red Bull to join them, although that didn't really work out very well for the German. Verstappen could follow Vettel's lead and join what could be a super team with him and Charles Leclerc as teammates. What a combination that could be. A final, more rogue choice is Aston Martin. The Silverstone-based team may not look like it given their 2022 season, but they are on the up. Their technical director Dan Fallows, who worked for Red Bull previously, has suggested there is a similar feeling in the air to when Red Bull first started, and perhaps titles may be in the future of Aston Martin as well. It is certainly a goal for team owner Lawrence Stroll, and he has the money to back it, so who knows what state they might be in 6 years down the road. It could be an enticing project for the 31-year-old Verstappen. While there are no doubt a number of opportunities available to a driver as talented as Verstappen, only he knows what he plans to do come the end of this current contract, but perhaps the most obvious choice is not one we've previously mentioned. Verstappen has made it clear he can see himself retiring early. As a man who loves to be at home, it is easy to see why. The ever-expanding race calendar means drivers and teams are being asked to spend a lot of the year away from their families, and Verstappen recently said he's more focused on his quality of life than breaking records. "It's not about the number of championships or whatever," he replied when asked if he had a championship target in mind. He told British broadcaster Channel 4, "It's also a quality of life. We are going to more races. I have a contract until 2028. I'll be 31. So I do think about if we are heading into this direction with more and more races, do I really want to continue until I'm like 35? Probably not. Because there's so many more fun things as well I want to do outside of Formula One, and I don't want to be traveling almost my whole year being away from my family and friends." So I see myself doing this for a few more years and of course definitely till the end of the contract, but then I'll definitely make my mind up if I really want to continue to live this lifestyle because it's very demanding. I like to be at home, I really love being at home, and being away so much it's sometimes a bit painful. So if come 2028 Verstappen has won the lot, why wouldn't he walk away? If he does retire it will be a huge loss for the sport, but few other drivers in history have deserved a break more than him. Verstappen has been racing since he was 5 and has been doing so in Formula 1 since he was 16, so it would be no surprise to see him say enough is enough one day. But for now, we will continue to enjoy the driving mastery of Max Verstappen. Thanks for watching and be sure to like the video to show that you've enjoyed it. Also, make sure that you're subscribed and click the bell to be notified of when our next video drops. But for now, goodbye.